Welcome to the Tracks and Sign Podcast. We're your hosts, Justin Smith and Brandon Molson. We're two outdoorsmen from the Southeast Michigan area, and we're here to share our passions, experiences, stories, and connect with like-minded individuals about all things hunting, fishing, exploring nature, land conservation, foraging, habitat, and game management. Well, I can hear you great.
Oh, this is good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, way better.
We're on Facebook Live, first time doing this.
That's cool.
Brandon, it's been a while.
It has. Yeah, we kind of took a little break there from meeting up. You know what though? I'm bummed that we were in a good routine for recording, but it's not like we replaced it with other things.
I mean, we've been doing a lot.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. Like we replaced it with we were on the river quite a bit. Detroit River or just fishing in general.
Went to the Pere Marquette.
Yeah, checking out properties. We've done a lot of stuff.
Turkey hunting.
Yeah, well, that was a big commitment. Is that what we're talking about today?
That is what we're talking about today.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Brandon, before we get going.
Yeah.
So I've probably scouted for turkey a total from, we'll say, hunting whitetail season last year to now, maybe 15 hours.
Okay. You got into them, though.
How many hours have you scouted turkey?
You're calling me out live on Facebook. My wife's probably not watching, but at hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of hours.
It makes sense,
There have been 14-hour days where I'm walking multiple properties, driving multiple properties, trying to pattern, setting up cameras all over the place. I have a pretty good idea of where they're at, though.
So you've been, this is what, your third year? Second year turkey hunting. My first year officially turkey hunting, not just hoping and praying that some just happens to walk by. It is awesome.
Some people don't like it as much. Some people will say, I hate sitting there for as long as you have to sit.
So, and you're the same way. So I think about it in terms of, whitetail season, especially bow season. I could sit from sun up to sundown.
Yeah. Even
Even with my energy level constantly need to move but I'm pretty good at managing, not a lot of movement. But turkey was cool because you have that opportunity in the morning. You get out there super early. You get that sunshine lifting up and go. It's crazy, man. And then you have that time period that, from what I've been, from our conversations and other people, that time after the initial when they come down from roost.
Yeah.
And then you have that almost like 9 to 12 or 9 to 11 time frame where could arguably be some of the best turkey hunting hours.
Oh yeah.
And why though? What's going? So explain this. What's going on in the morning, and why are those 2-3 hour time block? Why is it an opportunity to capitalize on the hunt?
So last year I did a lot of scouting before getting out there for my first time solo, and I got a turkey last year, but I approached it very different this year. Last year was more of a find a spot, sit all day, hope they come into you. And this year it was completely opposite and almost impatient to my fault. But from patterning these birds, where they're roosting, where they're going to during day hours, where they're moving to throughout the day, and when they're coming back to roost, and how that works. Not always the same area, but what I found is set up, try to roost a bird the night before, and set up not directly under them, but you can get pretty close.
Climb the tree, hang out with them.
Yeah, share a branch.
Yeah.
Shocked at kind of branches that they're on. But when they come down, so when I the first before opening day, I have a bird roosted right in front of me, and it literally like jumped in front of me and went up to it was insane. Pretty cool. I got super excited. I'm seeing these, and they just, two of them actually moved in silent along the ridge line, and then all of a sudden straight up to the tree, and then like hopped branches up and just sat there. And I'm like, well, I know where I'm hunting opening day.
Yeah.
Perfect. Come back the next morning, make the mistake of not over calling, but just calling in general, and they clearly flew the opposite way.
So redoing that situation again, you would have not have you would have done no calling.
Yeah. Yeah, because history tells me that from the cameras I had sitting out there, they flew down more times than not in my direction than down ridge. But probably because of my elementary calling and probably too much or too loud or whatever the case may be before roost, or it's just turkeys doing turkey shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, making it whatever decision. They went the opposite way. But to answer your question about why that's a good time, because a tom will be roosted, make some noise, get together with his hens,
which he already knows. Like that's already prearranged.
Yeah, they're going.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
they're
that's
hanging
already,
out together.
Yeah.
And they go and get up with their, and they you know do some strutting areas or you know whatever the case may be. And then at some point though, they break away from each other. They're either trying to lose the hen and go find, you know, some other, go answer a call somewhere else, or the hen's leaving to go lay her one egg for the day, whatever the case is. Either way, there's a solo tom or toms out there looking for another hen to shack up with. And that happens late morning or early afternoon. So that's why when people are, you know, it got to the point last year where I would hunt the morning hard and then I'd leave for the entire day and not come back until like, you know, a couple hours before roost in hopes that I can get a lone soldier coming in, which that's how I got my bird last year.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. On the way back to the roosting area, coming through the woods, saw my full strut decoy and went over and attacked it, shot it, and, you know, got a good long beard. This year though, I would wait. I would watch birds either come down from roost or I would hang around in the spot that I thought they were going to be walking through for the first hour, and then I'd hit the ground game hard. And I'd be walking through different areas where I know they're going to be coming to at some point and just call, like check calling. And if all of a sudden one responded, boom, you get set up.
Did you have them responding in the afternoon?
Yeah.
All types of weather? Any like specific weather where they were a little more?
Yeah, well, windier days, less responsive, but I was also shocked because I mean, there would be a huge gust and maybe I just wasn't hearing it. And so what I was trying to do is call after a gust would stop, I'd call real hard, actually using a box call to really project it. And I'd get response every once in a while. And actually I got set up over, all of a sudden I'm walking back from a spot and I was going to leave the woods and go to this field area that I know that they go in all afternoon.
Yeah.
As I'm walking out of like the hot spot where I know they're always in the morning, because they just went on a private land. I just, you know, they went the opposite direction. So I get up, I start moving, maybe trying to follow the flock or just leave the woods. And gust dies down. I hit a box call. All of a sudden it's like, they're right there. And I freak out. I look around. I'm like, you know, where am I going to go? I'm on a trail actually. And I see a big down log just go set up behind it. Like, what else am I going to do?
No, definitely.
Hit another call, hear them. And then I wait 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Hit another call, nothing. I'm like, huh, maybe they kept going and they're away. I get up 8 feet in front of me. I mean, maybe 10 feet. Bird's right there, just takes off, putt, like pop, 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 pop. Just, you know, wow, like running through the woods the opposite way. Because I just, you know, this human just pops up out of nowhere. And I was set up facing that bird with my gun. Did not see it coming in. Didn't make a noise, nothing.
So you're...
I don't know if it was a Tom or a Jake, but for the most part, the opportunities that I've gotten so far, most of the close shots that I could have taken were, and I was in pretty thick woods, were Jake's.
Yeah. That I had some cool interactions with Jake's, or even maybe it could have been a hen with a bearded hen.
I almost got hit by a hen. Yeah, I was sitting in a hot spot making a call, and I didn't have a decoy out, and I have nothing responding to me, and all of a sudden this like right behind me.
Oh my!
And I'm in pines up on a little ridge here, overlooking a creek bottom area. And sometimes in like heavy rainfall, it's actually a flooded zone, and it's a lot of times where they roost around there. This hen just comes charging down, almost hits me, doesn't even see me, runs right by me, just literally freaking out. And so watching that hen though for probably a good half hour, run around the creek bottom looking for my, I'm calling back and forth and we're talking, but to watch. To be there and see how she's calling, looking for a mate or looking for where I'm at, was really educational.
That's really cool.
Because then 2 toms come in. I never saw them, but they kept coming closer, and she hooked up with one of them. I just went on a tangent.
No, I know, but like you just, my girlfriend and I we were sitting in the spot. Kind of close to like where the new cabin is, and where camp is.
So the new cabin though is on your property. There's a nice pond, and it's on. There's a fence line, right?
Yep. So
horse farm on the other side.
Yep. Wide open. They don't plant or anything, but like
pines behind you.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in this little makeshift ground blind. It was actually a really cool little area that we did, and beautiful morning, sun coming up, and the horse farm has a rooster. You hear the rooster, making its rooster noises, and all of a sudden you hear this gobble, 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 gobble. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have chills right now because it's something I've heard turkey pretty much my whole life, but when you're sitting in the woods trying to hunt them and you hear this going on, you're like, oh my gosh, right? So everything that I read, like it's really mixed about when you should call, when you shouldn't call. So from my best educational, guess in that moment, I was like, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit, right? Gobble, 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 gobble. Like you hear a bunch of noise. So I was like, okay, so I let out a couple of different calls, right? And then finally about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes later, there were multiple toms, but this one tom making a bunch of noise, getting closer and closer to the point where we could start hearing movement in the area that we were hunting. Like we could hear them. And all of a sudden, a hen comes in, and then a few minutes later, Jake was like kind of, I don't know, like a southwest corner from us. And then all of a sudden you hear this tom, and then all of a sudden, boom! Someone right from the horse farm, dude, probably less than like, I don't know, honestly, probably less than 50 yards away.
Really?
And I was just like, oh, yeah.
Dang it.
So, started seeing them and everything. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was like, good for that human, but it was really cool to just be out there, and we're having a bunch of conversations about hunting turkey. You're listening to podcasts, reading, consuming as much content, because it's a very strategical type hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from my experience, I mean, obviously any hunt, there's strategy involved, but I don't know, there was just something about turkey that was like fascinating to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I made a comment earlier. Some people don't like to sit all day, but they'll love to whitetail hunt, which they sit all day. But a lot of times they're like, they've got grandpa's old cough medicine hanging up there. They've got a heater for it's a situational thing, and they like the deer camp scene. Turkey's a little different. There's no turkey camp, at least I'm sure there are, but people don't gather up and take a whole week off work normal people don't.
Sounds like a good time.
I did. Well, I tried working in between, but
Miranda, he still made his sales calls.
Yeah, right. It's a movement game. If you, and that was actually the most fun I've had this year of hunting, trying to predict where they were moving to and set up accordingly. And the people I've met, and all of a sudden I'm driving fields and I see them, 16 of them and a couple full strut, real long beards. And then you just like freak out. You're looking for a parking spot and you just pull over on the side of the road, grab your gun, put your stuff on, and you run across the street and you're walking back there and you see someone set up on a decoy, but they're on the wrong field. So you partner up with them and and like what we did is we tried maneuvering over like a river. I'm soaking wet. It's kind of raining outside, which they like. I didn't realize that you pointed that out. They're kind of like waterfowl. If the weather is cruddy, it's pretty good chance that they're out in the field, doing their thing.
Yep.
So here we are. We crossed a river, soaking wet. I'm not wearing the appropriate stuff. Now we're belly crawling up to this field to try to set up and
with some random guy you just met in the woods.
Literally just met. And I'm like, hey man, you're on the wrong field. There's like 16 of them right over there, and a real big long beard, full strut. And so he literally is like, we'll leave the decoy, let's go. and it's snowing out. Rain, snow mix. Had a blast all the way up until we didn't get them to come in close enough for a shot, but that's exciting hunting to me.
I mean, first off, the fact that you randomly met another person hunting turkey in the woods, and then next thing you know, you're hunting together, trying to figure out a strategy. Like, it's one of my favorite things about the hunting and fishing industry.
Yeah.
Like the commonality, like you instantly meet another fisherman or fisherwoman, hunter, etc. Like, it don't matter what walk of life, what you do for a living, none of that. Like, let's go.
Yeah. It's dangerous though. Turkey hunting, if you think about it, it's pretty dangerous. Because, like, I don't know about you. I mean, you're on, but you had someone within 50 yards of you. 50 yards, some people will take that with a good turkey choke and some good loads.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I killed mine at 45 yards last year.
Definitely.
I would have rather killed it at 8 feet. Like who knows if that was a tom, but the closer you can get in, I think the more proud you should be. But hey, 45 yards at a solid open field tom attacking it, I'm going to take that shot with the right stuff. I knew it was going down. So the dangerous part though is you're in full camo and you're using firearms. And a lot of times you're trying to shoot something that might not be responding back with a turkey call, might just be responding back with like a scratch, like that could be someone making their own call, looking for a turkey. And you don't know. Some of those people out there is like, oh, in that bush, there's a turkey, so I'm just going to shoot the bush. Not that I'm going to do that, but that exists.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People get shot doing this stuff. That's also fun, though, that there's a chance that you might get shot.
I mean, adds to the rush.
For sure.
It's really funny you talk about calling and like other people. So I didn't really put this 2 and 2 together till later on that night when we were, hanging around the fire and just talking about the day's events. But I made a comment to Lauren. I was like, you know what? Like, I had to have been doing okay calling because that guy was talking back to me. Like, he had to have thought I was a real turkey or something. So, hey, I mean, maybe I was doing something right. But I will tell you, they kept coming in closer.
Yep.
What's fascinating to me is, so my experience, so you had, your tag was the first week of opening and last week.
Yeah, so Michigan tag system's all messed up. My season's not over yet. I still have a whole week. Mind you, listeners, if you're tuned in, birthday's June 2nd. My tag reopens on June 1st, so I'm hoping to get it done that week.
That'd be an awesome birthday.
June 1 to June 7 is the last week in Michigan, and if you pull a public land, at least in Oakland County area, Lapeer, it's the first week and last week are your options.
Yeah, so then my tag was the 17th of April through the 30th. So pretty much
the first 2 weeks.
The first 2 weeks, yep.
Which that doesn't exist for most, and that's public and private land up there, isn't it?
Yep.
In Oscoda?
Yeah, zone, I think it's zone A. Forgot where I was going with that.
The season's not done.
Oh, yeah. So from my experience, the 2 weeks that I had, I was pretty lucky. I was able to get out there quite a bit. Rarely did I see turkey in the woods when it was raining or windy. Always open field, which would make sense based on what I was reading, our conversations. Sunny mornings, very vocal, like night and day compared to pretty much any other mornings that was not like, mostly sun. And they're so quiet. Like, I know like deer sometimes have this thing where they just pop out of nowhere, but like I feel you hear most, like when you're in the woods hunting, you hear squirrels and birds messing with the leaves and all this stuff, right? And they're not even a pound, some of them.
Yeah.
And you hear these turkeys, some of the sizes of them, and they just appear out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll be interacting in like a series of calls, and they'll be, coming, they'll be communicating with you. It's dead silent. And then 5 minutes later, they're right there.
See a little redhead.
Yes. Boom. I couldn't, like, it was nuts. And then another, I shared this with you because I thought this was super funny. So I had a hell of an adventure by accident trying to get back to the state land where you hunt behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so I was like, you know what, I want to take this spot out by where the new cabin in the pond is. So I did a whole walk back around, and I'm sitting in my little blind, drinking a Black Rifle, iced coffee, eating a Cliff Bar, messing with the GoPro, and then all of a sudden a turkey comes right down the trail. I have this on my GoPro, less than 5 feet from me.
No sound.
Nothing. Didn't even see me.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, kind of taking a deep breath because I was really frustrated about what I had to deal with for the last like 2 hours of this. Anyways, it's a different story, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. The little guy never saw me. And I just, man, like, I know like it was my first legit, I could not take, it was a small bird.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as much as I love going on a hunt and being successful, but I'm also very conscious about the conservation and bringing the population up higher. And so we know that there's a flock or a rafter of turkey.
Yeah, that's it.
Rafter of turkey.
Yeah. Which I have been calling it a flock, but the appropriate term is a rafter.
Rafter, yeah.
Didn't know that.
So I know there's a rafter of turkeys very close. I'm positive that some of them they roost on our property. So I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I never was like upset or annoyed or frustrated that I didn't, tag a turkey. I learned so much,
mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, obviously I want that big Tom, but I couldn't shoot this Jake. The hens were bigger.
Well, yeah, if it was like a 6-month-old yearling, because they're still like a bigger Jake looks like a Tom, like body wise,
mm-hmm.
are pretty dang close at a year and a half. And then right when they cross over the 2, that's when they become, their Tom, when they start losing those feathers or getting replaced, bigger ones. But one thing that I got into this year that I didn't last year, and this was like groundbreaking to me. I'm so excited to try this out during deer season. But now that I've broken this through, like this is crazy. I'm starting to hear other people talk about it that have had similar experience, or they've been doing it for decades. A lot of mouth callers do this. But here I am set up in a prime spot, snuck in there mid-morning, not even like
super early.
Some of them were pretty early, but like, let's say I this last time, and this was Friday, okay? So this has happened a couple times now. But when I'm turkey hunting and making turkey noises, the deer are calmer. And it's unbelievable because I'm not in a ground blind. A lot of times I'm posted up against a tree. Maybe I'll grab a down limb and put it, kind of near me or something. But for the most part, I'm pretty exposed, but full camo. And what I've noticed is if deer come close to you, turkey are pretty close right behind. And I'm talking within 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes like a few, like literally they're following each other around. Deer feel comfortable that there's turkey noises, and turkey might feel comfortable that there's deer. And I've seen that there were 3 instances specifically where I had deer within like, I don't know, 15 yards of me.
Yes. Dude, Lauren and I were sitting in the woods.
Surrounding.
Yes.
Now, they're the first to know that you're there. Turkey aren't, but the deer will eventually smell you, and then they'll blow at you. But they didn't, because I had my camera out, I'm taking pictures, because I'm like, well, there's no turkey, so I'm just going to...
Brandon, you were probably on calls. Let's just...
One time I was, and a turkey walked up. It was unbelievable. Not a shooter, but it was cool. But the deer, I found that those interactions to be pretty special, actually. And then when I'm walking out, I have just deer like looking at me, and it was a game changer.
Dude, Lauren and I were sitting in the woods. Turkey, they were hens, shot in front of us, and not even 5 minutes later, Lauren taps me on my thigh, and she like pointed to our right shoulders. 3 deer within less than 20 yards.
Unbelievable.
Like I was, oh my gosh. So your comment about putting out turkey decoys,
yeah,
I don't know if that's illegal, but like that's not a bad idea.
If you can use decoys in your state, like deer decoys and stuff, because some people hunt with bucks, like Bucky, put them out there. Yeah, which is crazy.
Dude, the videos of those bucks coming up to those decoys and just racking them,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But now you throw out deer decoys or turkey decoys. Come on.
Making the deer feel like, oh, it's
and making
safe.
Turkey noises.
Yeah, it's
all
safe
of a sudden
for the turkey.
They run into a food plot, and Now I don't know because it's also the season where I can't tell if it's a buck or a big doe or whatever the case may be. So who knows if bucks will follow that, or especially mature bucks. But it's worth a try.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a solid idea.
And then they come in so close. Come on, I'm trying to be quiet, 20 feet up in a tree. Like either in a blind or, just dead still, but yet I can be sitting on the ground and they come like 15 yards from me.
So I bought the Primos Killer Bee Tom decoy full strut, and it has this string attached to the front that unwinds, and where you hold it where you're sitting, and you can pull it, and it makes the feathers full strut, half or quarter strut. I don't know, man. I'm sitting out there just pulling this thing. It's kind of windy, like whatever, and making some calls.
It's like a jerk string for waterfowl.
Literally, yes,
cool.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there doing this, like no idea what I'm doing, like never have had, an interaction with a turkey decoy. So I'm just like kind of doing that. Anyways, while I'm doing this, so I have a full strut tom, and then I have a hen. I'm pretty confident about my setup, and while I'm doing this, a Jake comes in to the setup and is just hanging out while I'm like pulling on this string. I wasn't being like super aggressive with it at this point, but like I was like, wow. Because I'm thinking that this Jake is going to be a little intimidated by this tom decoy.
So I've had them scared and run the opposite way.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
I've never had a Jake come into a tom.
Yeah.
Not that I have 20 years of full strut decoy hunting, but
so my head
that is interesting that they did that.
Yeah, the Jake's probably like, stupid human.
Huh. Yeah, right. No.
Jake's is like,
I don't know, man. You never know.
Yeah.
Or so low down in the totem pole that, they know they're following suit.
So I want to share 2 quick things. And I learned this year. Probably a lot of people know this, but I thought it was really cool because I did not know this. You can tell Jakes and toms and hens while you're scouting in the area and you find their shit.
Yeah.
By the shape of their poop.
Yeah.
That's really cool. If I'm not mistaken, like toms tend to have a J, and then more like younger Jakes, hens have like a kind of like a spiral or a twist in it.
It's smaller.
Smaller, yeah, much smaller.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting fact, mind blown about this, is toms' heads change colors. White, blue, and red.
Could be in a second.
Yeah, like so crazy to me. And then so you're thinking like, okay, like so I guess white that means they're about to get down to business. They're about to freak out. Something's gonna get hurt. Like very aggressive. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know that, I hope we taught you something there.
It's cool.
But I think it's so crazy.
You know what? I still have. It's tough to tell from like the back a tom and a Jake. From a distance, even pretty close actually. I have a tough time figuring that one out unless you can see the beard or if they're in strut. Obviously, they have different they're uneven fan feathers, and the beard obviously is either 2 inches or 1 inch, like little stub thing picking out, or a tom will have a full beard, average 8-9 inches. But
your wife just going on a walk, seeing double beards, triple
yeah.
beards. I couldn't believe that.
Well, she's going, and that's like a few miles away from our house at a like a local municipal park. But it's all a nature park, and they'll see huge deer, big bucks, and be walking through the woods. They're pretty dang close to them. But yeah, triple beard with a double beard and a bunch of hens around it, strutting in the middle of a field. Come on,
dude! I've seen them at zoos and things like that, but this year I saw my very first like wild tom turkey full strut. Like, oh my gosh, man!
So you made a point that you love turkey hunting this year. And I was thinking, and you're like, Brandon, I don't know if you're going to like this, but I think I like this more than duck hunting. And I love duck hunting. But, and there's a bunch of different ways to hunt waterfowl that I love. But when people talk about different waterfowl hunts, and then you talk about a turkey, there's a different reaction that my body makes. Where it's like, you talk about a roost gobble or a shock gobble, I mean I have a reaction. Like it gets fired, dude, up.
Hair on the back of your neck going all the way down to your
Oh my gosh.
I know you can't pick this up, but like it's wild.
Driving around the fields and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you see a strutter, I'm gonna cause an accident. Like I'm just pulling over the side of the street. I'm ripping across the road to try to get set up. Like, what am I gonna do? There's not, I can't think of another species that we hunt that does that to me. I love turkey hunting.
Yeah, man. I just
and you are on the move. Yeah, you could sit there all day and hope they come in, and that's a fine way to hunt. But if you don't like that, then figure out a ground game.
Yes, that's what I love about it.
Figure out different spots and try to pattern when they're going to be here in the afternoon versus morning versus roost, and get active on it.
I did not give enough respect to scouting turkey preseason. And obviously it's important, but from my experience this year, I need to 5X the amount of time that I'm going in the woods specifically looking for turkey.
Oh, like, bet your ass, Justin, next year you're going to know literally the multiple different roost spots you have within a half mile of your property next year. I bet you anything that you'll know exactly where those things are going. Because I do. Here's a quick story. I think we got to wrap up but my last story here. So I do have a confession, and here it goes. So I had the first week to hunt, and last day is a Friday. There I am. I set up in. I did have a little ground blind built where they typically, it's like their launch pad for roosting. Went there in the morning, hoping that I was going to see a tom or something come down. Didn't see anything, and I think our shoot light began at like 6:15. It was pretty early. Mm-hmm. By 7:00, I'm ground game. Like I don't hear anything out there. It's a beautiful day. You know what? This is my last day. Let's get aggressive. I start going over, walking this path back to where I know another roost spot is, and it's a pretty big one. And it's also about 1.5 miles back on public. And I mean, you're deep back there, but you're also butting up against some people's private land. So there's like 10-acre plots that butt up against this big public spot. And so I set up on I don't know, 20 yards from this private area. And it's also a pine ridgeline. What I just described earlier when that hen came running in, same scenario, same setup. But I know they go from woods up to this private guy's property and kind of strut around there and go down the neighbors and come back in the woods. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to just start right there and let's get over there quick. So I get over there. I'm making some calls along the way. Hear 0 things. I go, okay, whatever. So I go set up over there, make a couple of calls for the past handful of days. And I hunted every single day. In the morning, I would hear something within 10 minutes of sitting down, 5 to 15 minutes. 100% of the time, up until that Friday, I would hear something as soon as I sat down and called there. Now, whether they came in or it was the right one to shoot or whatever, that was besides this point. But this time, I hear nothing. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I've got myself a little bit of hitting up against a tree. There's an old tree deer stand. I pull my phone out because I also was pretty busy that day, and I start doing some emails and whatnot, and make a call every once in a while. About 40 minutes go by, and all of a sudden I look up and I see deer. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. Got some deer coming in from the way I just came in.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, 40 minutes prior. But there's deer, there's 3 of them, and they're just kind of grazing along. I have a decoy set up, just a hen, not a strutter. And I have the hen facing me on this trail that typically I walked in on. I mean, and it's pretty broken up from where I walk in, but it definitely picks up and then goes onto this person's property or back into the woods. And then it disappears back in the woods. Like it's not a walking trail. It goes back into real thick stuff. And so I have this hen sitting on there, facing where I'm at, and I'm 20 yards away from it, 15, 20 yards away from it. The deer come in from where I just walked in, and they look at the decoy, and they are chill, man. Once they see that thing, they're all good. And they're just walking around, they're grazing. They actually go down to the creek bottom, disappear. A few minutes later, bam, totally opposite side, right side. They come up. Whole, I call them flock, but the whole rafter, big group of them, come piling in. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. They don't make a noise either. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do. I froze. The first one, confirmed Jake. Looks at my decoy, starts walking over. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're literally gonna walk. And where they come in at, I don't have a shot over there. It's real thick, and it's not gonna work out. And then they could sneak onto this person's property, and then they're gone.
Yeah, game over at that point.
But if they don't turn on the property and they continue down to my decoy, I have beautiful shooting lanes, and I'm hitting beautiful shooting lanes. Jake goes over, takes a couple steps, looks, and doesn't get freaked out, but just turns and then like slowly walks onto the private property. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I don't make a call. I have a diaphragm call in my mouth. I have a box call next to me that if I make it, nobody's gonna see me do anything. I have my gun propped up facing them now, like I moved it over. And I'm like, all right, I got a pretty tight lane here, but if something walks right there, I'm gonna get it. And I took a shot. So I see a Tom. So it's like Jake, hen, and there's a pile of them in there. Then I see a Longbeard. I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. and I get it, and I have enough time to where it's like it's not bobbing its head, but it's going, and I try shooting right at its head.
Okay.
I did not go for the chest neck area. I went straight for the head. Thought I hit it. Freaked out. Jumped up right away. They all go,
oh yeah,
flying. They all go like running away, skirting away. And so I run over there. And this is probably 35 yards away.
Which is a decent shot.
It's a decent shot. Yeah. And it was tight between trees, and it was a forced shot. But I thought I got it. Like, I had the head on the bead. It was golden.
Yeah.
And so I run over there, and this thing is just flying away. Gone. So I spend the next hour looking for it. There was no blood, no feathers. Can't find the whole entire group. Nothing. They're all gone. Devastating.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
I was so frustrated I left. And it wasn't even 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I mean, when I took that shot, it was like 7:45. And then at that time it was 9. I still had the whole morning to go hunt, but I was fired up. So I left.
I want to, not this conversation. We got to wrap this one up. But I want to know, I'd like to have a conversation. Maybe we can do this one next week about like your early season versus late season tactics. I heard it is a different type of hunt.
Yeah.
I'm excited to join you in June. Yeah. Dude, I cannot wait to turkey hunt in the fall. Like, I really enjoyed it.
I did not turkey hunt last fall, but you can get a tag a day in Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But lessons learned. I was really impatient first week. I had a number of cameras up in that area. I have 0 cameras over there right now, but what I noticed is spots that I thought were good, I set up a camera and would sit there at some point, leave, go to another area, and turkey would come through there at some point, and I was nowhere to be found. Or I got impatient, got up, and scared one away. That was real close. Rushed a shot. What I should have done there is let it play out. That thing didn't even see my decoy yet until I took the shot.
Dang.
I had no idea what it was going to do, but I should have calmed down, or I should have made a call, or let's say it did start going up on a private. You start toying with them to come back down. There's a lot of things that you could have done, but I froze, freaked out, took a shot, and clean miss.
Hey, I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah. That's a bummer. Because now I have to be in the woods with pretty thick vegetation in June.
Yeah.
It's all going to be green. There's going to be ticks all over. Not like there already are a bunch, but it's going to be pretty bad. Mosquitoes are going to be bad.
Elements, baby.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I got to get it done. And you're right. Different approach to hunting late season. What do you got to wrap up?
Nothing. I cannot wait. I actually have not really stopped thinking about the time that I spent in the woods this year for turkey. It was awesome.
It's phenomenal.
Like just the things I was looking for in the woods and sign, like I never would have before. And it's cool because when you see it, you're like, that's a hen, or that's a tom, or like they're moving through here, scratches, etc. For me, learning, definitely being more patient with calling. Like, especially on the days when they're super, super vocal. It's okay to not be as vocal as often as I was.
One last thing to wrap up from my side. So I had the most success with getting them to come in by actually scratching the ground. So like with, I actually hated being in there. I didn't hate, but I would prefer not at rain and then go in there. Yeah, you can walk into the woods quieter, but then they're quieter. Mm-hmm. And when you go to scratch, everything's all damp.
Yep.
But if it's crisp leaves, and you take a hand and go, whoosh, and then you wait a second, whoosh, or you go, whoosh, wait a second, whoosh, and do like a series of 3.
Yeah.
They gobble like, I mean.
Would you just do the scratch by itself? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, nothing.
All right. Yeah. So I did the with, and then like one Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, or
But I would go 1 Mississippi.
Wow.
No, I mean not like it was more like.
Go. That was a good one. Yeah. Yeah, Brandon. I'm excited for June.
Yeah.
We got a lot more.
You're going to go out there with me, right?
Oh, I have to. I wasn't able to get out at least a day.
Yeah, we didn't hunt this year together.
No, man.
At least for turkey.
Yeah.
We'll get it done.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Dude, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any last minute things? Yeah, Brandon. As always.
Good getting back on the air.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Hey,
this
thanks
is fun.
everybody that tuned in live.
Yeah. Facebook.
Love it.
Thank you. All right. Signing off.
See you. Thank you all for listening today. We appreciate your support. We are always looking for ways to help our listeners and enhance the outdoor experience. So please let us know if you have a specific topic to discuss or guest you'd like us to have on the pod. All industry partner discounts can be found on our website, tracksandsign.com. In case you see some apparel or accessories you like on our website, we do donate 10% of total sales each quarter to different associations like Ducks Unlimited and NDA/QDMA. If there are any other associations or conservation effort you'd like us to support, please contact us as we would love to help. Email us at fishhuntfind@tracksandsign.com. And lastly, please subscribe to our social channels to stay updated on our journey of finding Tracks and Sign. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Etsy, Apple Podcast, and Pinterest. Signing off.